Hi everyone, I'm here with Ben from Unsociable, and we're going to be talking to Ben about his business and learn a bit about what he does. Hi Ben, welcome to the podcast. Nice to see you, and thank you for having us up in Scotland. Fantastic train journey up, nice scenery.
Yep.
No problem. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm the founder and CEO of Unsociable. We're one of the top-rated TikTok Shop partners in the UK and the US. We basically enable brands to be able to sell on the platform effectively through all the different means that you would need to be able to effectively do that, and that includes everything from setup, like integrations, which we were just talking about before we went on air.
Indeed.
Integrations, retail strategy and planning, product strategy, like promotional strategy, through to all of the fun stuff on TikTok Shop, what I see as fun anyway, which is the marketing elements. So creating content on behalf of brands, managing content creators at scale, which are known as affiliates on the platform. This is a big driver of sales. We also run and produce shoppable live streams on behalf of brands and custom live sets, which are through there, and I'll show you them after we're filming.
Sounds good.
And then running paid media on the platform as well, and also just making sure that brands are set up for success, like from a commercial standpoint, from a content standpoint, and that the brand's protected and looked after, because for all the good things about TikTok Shop, there's also risks to going on the channel, both commercial and brand.
Yeah, I'm very interested. We'll come back to the risks in a second, because I'm very interested in that. How do you get into it? It's a really interesting area to be in. How do you get into it?
Do you want the long story or the short story?
The medium one.
The medium. Okay. Like Goldilocks. Well, I used to actually work for an alternative health and wellness marketplace, and like I came straight out of uni, didn't know what I was doing, had no idea about eCommerce or anything. I didn't even really know the term. But I found myself working at a alternative health and wellness marketplace, and I worked out how to run ads for a specific type of product that was restricted. And from there, I started selling that as a service to the brands in the marketplace, because none of them knew how to do it. And then I realised that before I knew it, I was an agency, essentially. So I started to hire a team inside that business, inside the marketplace, and then built an agency, I guess. I didn't really feel that way. I didn't know what it was at the time, but that's what it was. And before I knew it, I had a team of like 5. That business had its issues, so we decided I didn't want to lose the team that I'd built, and I thought they were really good and they had a lot of capability. So we set up a completely new business, went out on my own, was young at the time, so I was scared and overwhelmed and didn't really know what I was doing, and we didn't have any money at first, but I just kind of like fought through, got some clients, we called them at the time, on board, and managed to like survive basically. And then I spent about a year like trying to work out what we could actually do. We leaned more into like content marketing. I'm quite a creative person, and that's the part of my job that I enjoy the most. So we made all sorts of content, and we worked with like celebrities, we worked with a number of brands, we worked with authors in the States, fantasy authors in the States, and loads of weird and wonderful stuff. We did B2B content, social media, and then at this point in time, this is about 3 years ago now, TikTok had just started to become a thing in the UK. So like this is when it was evolving from like the Gen Z dancing trend type era into what it is today, where like most people use it. I think more than half the UK use TikTok regularly now, and everyone, like my gran uses it, for example. So at this point in time, the team were like, Ben, you need to get on TikTok, like needs to be a thing, like you will absolutely love it, it will blow your mind. Eventually I caved after much pressure. I downloaded TikTok within 5 minutes, knew which football team I supported. I won't say what to cause controversy. Knew I loved Mexican food, knew I loved professional wrestling, and all this crazy stuff about me that I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how does this app work? And I'd seen social media evolve through the years, like growing up with it. And I was like, wow, this is the thing. This is the thing I've been like waiting for.
Highly addictive.
Yeah, it's so addictive as well, and I just knew it was going somewhere. So instead of doing lots of different content for B2B and like writing blogs and everything, I was like, okay, let's just get good at this, like this style of things. So that's what we did. But before selling it as a service to brands, we thought, let's test it out ourselves. So we started making content for Unsociable. We had a different name at the time. And we tried all of the things you could possibly imagine, all the stuff you've seen on TikTok, like the trends and dances and stupid stuff. And eventually one day we posted this video and we didn't think anything of it. It was me and one of the team that worked with me at the time were in the video, and I just played like this really grumpy version of myself. And I don't know, I genuinely may have been in a bad mood that day, but it just blew up. Like the video just started blowing up, and like the views, like I've never seen anything like it. I'd obviously had like a couple of successes with content marketing, but it was like 50,000 views. And this thing, it was like 8 hours after we posted, it was 100,000 views, and I was like, this is crazy. And all the comments were like coming down, and our followers were like flying up. I was like, this is nuts. And within a couple of days, it was like 300,000 views. So we started making more of the same style of content. I was a character of myself called Grumpy Scottish Boss. And we ended up making these like skit style videos, and they just kept blowing up. And from there, we got like a lot more brands working with us. We started doing more content marketing, which allowed us to kind of sink our teeth into things. But something really unexpected that came of that was TikTok had just launched TikTok Shop in the UK, and they saw that content and they invited us down to TikTok HQ. This was a couple of years ago now. They told us what was happening with social commerce in Southeast Asia and China, and I was like, all right, that it's not just TikTok that's the thing, it's this is the thing. So we decided, like after I saw what was happening there, I was like, right, we need to do this. So we did the same thing we did again. We started like testing small, building up, trying it with loads of different brands, and we just failed a lot. We like, I mean, I'm a bit ashamed, but not completely ashamed to say, like we worked with a lot of brands that just did not work on the platform. And we gave it our best shot, but eventually from doing that so many times, we learned like the nuances, stuff that people think is like every day on TikTok Shop now, but at the time it was mind blowing that like affiliates were the key to driving sales. So once we realized that, then we kind of found the recipe for success. I would say about 16 months ago now, and most of the brands that we work with now are really successful. There's obviously the odd thing that still goes wrong, but it's allowed us to unlock this whole new world of sales. Like I've never seen anything like it in my life.
I agree. Like from obviously we collect data. We integrate with about 70 different channels.
Yeah,
and we collect data from all of them. And I think before we went on air, I was telling you, it used to always be Amazon was the most popular, then eBay, then Shopify, and obviously Shopify is retail stores, right? It's not now. It's Amazon, then TikTok, and TikTok aren't that far behind.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because if you look at the number of retailers we have on TikTok as opposed to Amazon or eBay, the numbers are tiny, but the number of orders and volume that people are doing on the platform is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind whenever I look at the data. One of the interesting questions that I have, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, is I don't think that many merchants understand that TikTok is a shop like Amazon. It is somewhere you can sell stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do videos. Obviously, you'll know better than me the best way to sell on there, but when I speak to brands, they don't seem to realise that you can list your products on there. And I think it's a huge growth market. What are your thoughts on that, Nick?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think especially say like a year and a half ago when I started speaking to brands about it, like people genuinely, they just didn't even know that basic fact that it's like a marketplace, there's a seller center, like you get Amazon Seller Central. It's all the same mechanics on the back end, but so different on the front end.
So where do you think TikTok Shop's going in the next few years?
International, probably the key word. Right now in the Western world, it's only fully available in the UK and the US. Only launched in the US about 18 months ago, so a lot of people don't know that. It's been in the UK for over 3 years now. But this year, a big plan for us is to expand into European markets as they open. So they've got some of the biggest Central European countries opening. From a wider social commerce space perspective, I do think that it's going to become a very busy market. I think a lot of people were skeptical about live shopping and were skeptical about even just that mechanism of like buying an app from the marketplace rather than like going off to the brand's website. I think that shift has happened and is happening. Like you've got YouTube shopping coming soon. So I think TikTok are going to have a lot of competition on their hands as well. And consumers are going to become more used to buying on social apps and it being like native. Not so long ago, I think the average purchases for Gen Z on social media in 2023, for example, was like 11 a year in the UK. This year it's going to be way, way higher than that, especially if you factor in TikTok Shop. Like I think it'll be 30, 40, something crazy.
I myself am very guilty of a little bit of social shopping.
What have you bought on TikTok Shop?
What have I bought on TikTok Shop? Let's see. Usually torches.
Torches.
Lots of torches.
Right. Okay.
I'm into torches for some reason. So I buy a lot of torches.
Uh-huh.
A bin thing for pushing my rubbish down.
Oh, the can crusher.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, the bin one.
The bin thing
Yeah,
that shuts your bin. It's really, really useful.
Yeah.
Because that's like a real well problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also put on TikTok shop. Pillows.
Pillows. Good pillows are.
Yeah, pillows. Toilet roll.
Yeah. Do you know that's the most common one I get when I ask people that question?
Toilet roll.
Toilet roll. Yeah. People buy
just convenient,
128 toilet rolls.
It's good, so easy. It's like press shop, done. Jobs are good done.
That's why it's so good, because it's seamless. Like, you don't even think about it. Like, within less than 2 seconds, tap, Apple Pay. But
yeah, in fact, it really is good, to be fair. But from a customer shopping experience, it's good. It reminds me, I'm old enough to remember the shopping channels on Sky, and it reminds me of that, like, with a massive X factor to it, you know?
JVC.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, they were very popular, but this is like that on steroids. So it's like,
you know, QVC is actually one of the biggest sellers on TikTok Shop in the US. Yeah.
I didn't know. Wow.
They've moved over to that channel.
Don't blame them.
Yeah.
We'll also talk about the US potential ban of TikTok. Is that?
Yeah, we can talk
about it. You see that?
The topics are off limit. We can talk about
it. Well, it's a very political thing, isn't it? Do you think that actually? Do you think? What is your prediction for TikTok and TikTok Shop in the US?
Do you know? I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but everything I thought would happened the way I thought it would, because to me it just seems like there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we'll never really be privy to, and just the kind of like the hero moment that happened with like the new president coming in and saving TikTok, like it all just felt
a little bit staged.
Yeah, and obviously there's like a history of that kind of thing, so. I have no political allegiances in the US whatsoever. I just do think that that's what happened, essentially. I do think that they've got a point, like 100%. It's no different from any other social media platform or Google or any of the big tech companies that profile users all the time. Like, there's definitely like data problems, and we all know it. Like, we all know your phone's listening to you. Like, we all feel it, see it. So I don't think TikTok's any different. There's definitely some like data risks there, and like consumers should be aware of that for sure. But I don't think they're any different than what other platforms do, and I actually think that there's much more compelling evidence of what other platforms have done in the past that's way worse than anything there.
Well, it's a really interesting point, isn't it? Because like everyone talks about data, and you're absolutely right that these apps are collecting data.
Yeah.
But if you're aware of it,
yeah,
which most people are, and you're comfortable with it, then what's the problem?
Yeah.
Like I have TikTok on my phone and it collects data about me. I have YouTube on my phone and it collects data about me.
Yeah.
But I willingly know that and agreed to it because I like the services and I like to use them products. And therefore, I personally don't have an issue with it. It's my view. So what's the mission of Unsociable?
Probably not a good sign that I can't rhyme this off the top of my head, but we're really passionate about what we do. We like to be different, think different, and try and do different things. Like, this is a space that no one knows what they're doing at. Like, the biggest marketing agencies in the world are having a go at it and failing. Like, I see it every day. So I think our challenge is basically to be like curious and be unstoppable. One of our core values is to be unstoppable, basically. And it's just to like always challenge ourselves to try and find new and better ways of doing things, because we're all building this TikTok shop and social commerce ecosystem together at the same time, and we're all learning from each other, learning from the brands that we work with. And if we're not committed 100% to like progress and learning new things and being curious every single day and how we approach things and pushing the ball out, then we're not going to get anywhere and we're not going to move the space along. So that's the thing that I encourage most, is a combination of just us being resilient and us being curious at all times. And if we do that consistently, then I think we're going to unlock things for the brands that we work with and deliver like amazing results from the partnerships that we engage into, and discover like new ways and techniques of doing this thing, because it's a crazy space with lots of nuance to it. And I learn something new every single day without fail. So I suppose that's the mission, is just to like be curious and be unstoppable.
Sounds good. I think one of the interesting things you've said there is it is so new. Like TikTok and the concept of selling on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, we see new people coming onto the platform every month. And on that topic, you know, if someone's watching this now who's thinking, well, I'm good on Amazon, I'm selling on eBay, I've got my Shopify, You know, maybe I'm on Etsy, depending on what they're doing. You know, TikTok, how do I start? What's the advice to them?
I suppose it depends on the scale of your brand. Like, I'd give very different advice to like a startup versus a enterprise brand, but there's some fundamentals for everyone. The easiest way to get started 100%, once you pass the part where you guys would come in, the technical setup and the retail listings, optimizing your product listings, and just setting up the shop, is to go like head first into affiliates, which is basically content creators who make content on the platform for their audience and for a wider TikTok audience, because of the way the algorithm works, seeding them with your products and then creating stories for them to tell around your products and then just allowing them to breathe and be that thing. That's how you generate virality on the platform. That's how, do I give an exact number, but the vast majority of sellers that are working well on TikTok Shop, most of their sales come through affiliates. So that's when you're scrolling TikTok and you see someone in there, like, was it the bin move?
No, yeah, the bin crusher,
yeah. So someone made a video of that, obviously, on their feed where they showed the bin crusher app.
With the shop link at the bottom.
With the shop link at the bottom, they told you to buy from it. You bought from that. They made probably 10% commission, I'd guess, because that's about average on the platform. You got a product you loved. TikTok made their, depending at the time, maybe 9% commission, and it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, one of the things I see a lot and hear from sellers that we talk to use TikTok is that TikTok seem to be quite supportive of their sellers with stuff like potentially, depending on your volume, shipping, and before you were telling me about some of the other stuff. We talk a little bit about how TikTok help support their sellers.
Yeah, 100%. I've never worked with like Amazon directly, but I talked to a lot of our brands and they've always said like Amazon customer service is a nightmare. When I speak to Amazon agencies, they always say like the support you get is minimum. I think TikTok Shop have obviously seen an opportunity here to like come and be really aggressive in the Western markets, but by doing things like the right way, by like supporting sellers and enabling them to be successful. And it's such a complicated ecosystem. It's not just list your products and sell. Like, people aren't searching for it. You need to generate the demand. So TikTok want to give you as much tools as possible to be able to do that from an education standpoint, but also from like the stuff you alluded to, which is they will pay for shipping over certain thresholds at certain times of year. So that means like, I'll give you an example, right? So on the lead up to Black Friday and Christmas last year, any product that your customer pays more than £20 for was free shipping automatically, and TikTok was paying the shipping or co-funding it, depending on where you sat and where you were in the market. Every month they do campaigns where like for 5-6 days, they'll run these campaign windows and they'll put coupons against products that are doing well if you've registered for them for the campaign, and it means they'll pay the customer for a discount that they get. So customer pays like, I don't know, 10% less, 20% less. Brand doesn't have to pay that. TikTok pays it. So they're making a huge investment into the market, and it means that sellers are self-success and they understand the platform and they can do a much better job of trading on it.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Any pitfalls of TikTok?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think about this all the time, and I get asked about it as well. There's definitely for startups and scale ups, you can be nimble, you can like playlist for your brand. Of course, you need to be careful, but for we work with a lot of mid-market up to enterprise sellers. That's like our sweet spot. So like some like massive global key accounts. And the pitfall or the debate we always have is like an affiliate video looks very different from like an influencer video that you would see on Instagram. Like, the two just couldn't look more worlds apart. And because they've spent so long understanding this influencer piece over here, they don't really get this piece over here. And the team that's trained to understand the influencer piece, they're so like, this is how influencer content should look. Like, this is what I expect it to look like. A certain degree of like professionalism, but that's not TikTok. And it's definitely not TikTok Shop. So we've always got this education piece of like, okay, this doesn't look like your usual influencer marketing would look like, but it's sold like £20,000 worth of units already. Like, this works. So
yeah, when I think about things I bought on TikTok, some of the videos that have made me press the buy button have been like normal people in the house that just look totally like as if I was at my house, opening a torch, because that's one of the things that I can think now, and just like shining it around their kitchen or outside going, well, this is a very good torch. And I look at it, it's like a tenner, and I'm like, well, it's winter, I need a torch. Boom.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look there's no studio quality lighting, there's no studio quality video, but it's effective.
That's what people like. Genuinely, like, I think that's a market for everything.
It
like,
feels real, like a trust element to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like down to earth. It's it's candid, it's basic, it's unedited, it's raw. Like that's what people buy into. Like it just seems like someone's taking out their phone and like, I really like this thing, you'll probably like it too. By the way, I get a commission if you buy it.
Yeah, 100%. So one of the things that I find interesting about TikTok is the concept of these lives that happen on TikTok Shop. Do you have any insights or things you can tell us about that?
Yeah, it's one of the parts of the platform I'm most enthused about because this really interesting thing happened in e-commerce where brands that traditionally would have had to gone through retail or open their own physical stores became online brands. But what they lost when they did that was that kind of personal element to it. Yeah. So like you think about that interaction you have between like yourself and a Amazon like product page. Yeah. It's so transactional, right? It's just like I go on, I want this thing, I buy it. What's really interesting about TikTok Lives and what I love about it is it's giving small brands, retailers, even enterprise brands like a chance to engage with their customers in a completely different way.
Feels much more personal, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Especially with the live interaction that you can get through the messaging and the responses, you know.
I think it's as close as we've got to like a mainstream experience of what you'd get in a physical retail store, which people love because it's just like an evolution of the way we've always bought and sold, like human to human.
Yeah, if you're buying clothes in a retail store, you ask questions, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, have you got this in red or have you yeah.
And people do it online all the time, but it's just not the same as like being able to have like a host on there. So it opened up the door for this, and I think that's why it works so well in China and Southeast Asia, and why it's starting to like really become a thing here. And it's just like some of the brands that we work with, it's so interesting to see like you get like customer insights you would never have thought of because of like the way that they're interacting with the host and the things that the customers say when they're on the lives. You get these upsells that you never thought you'd be able to get. Like, you know how often I see the comment like, I only came on to buy this and I ended up buying this and this, like you would get in a physical store, but you'd like people are spending millions trying to do it on e-com stores and not being particularly successful with it. I think Lives is just incredible, and I'm also really proud of what we've done with Lives so far. We're the only partner to win the live streaming award twice in the UK, and we build like all of our sets from scratch for brands. We come up with like these concept designs, and then it looks amazing on camera, and we've got a really energetic and passionate live team as well who create those experiences for customers that I just love. I've seen it. To be honest, it's one of the parts of the business I'm most passionate about.
How does that work, the kind of live setup that you've got going on?
So we build these like custom live rooms, and then we'll basically draft out like a concept set for the brand that bash it back and forth a bit, and then we'll build it from scratch. We've got a couple of guys that come in and like design and build all the sets, and we're just trying to like constantly push the boat out with that, trying to do more things, trying to be inventive and creative, because as this space gets busier, like you're going to do things to stand out as you do on any platform. So I think like live sets and live hosts is something that businesses can really use as like a strong USP in the platform to like basically set themselves apart from their peers, and anyone can do it. Like it's easy to start on Lives, it's difficult to master. Like you can get on there and you can get a bit of momentum. There's just so many nuances and so many processes and systems that go alongside it that part can be quite overwhelming until you've been doing it for a long time.
I understand. Have you got any case studies about the live side of things? Have you got any stories you can talk about that are interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some personal ones, but one of the most amazing things I've seen was actually with one of your brands. So P. Louise last year, they did it was well documented in the press and everything, in TikTok Shop weren't afraid to shout about it, but they did one all-day live stream is what's called a showcase live, which is the terminology that we use for these big event style lives that last all day, and they did 2 million, I think it was £2 million, but maybe $2 million in a single live session.
It was I remember that day. It was a phenomenal day. Yeah, the platform was seeing a lot of use on that day.
Yeah,
but phenomenal business what Paige has built there. Obviously we work with Paige to provide a technology to help run the business in the e-commerce area, but phenomenal business, and what they're achieving there is really good. And that's testament really to how well lives can work.
Yeah, if you get it right, like you can get it right. We had the brand. We work with some of like the biggest consumer electronics brands in the world. They were managing to get them up to like high 5 figures on their live streams. But the potential there, if you can like make a few tweaks and get it right, it's like 6 figures consistently from single live sessions, which is just an amazing realm of possibility. And of course, the consumer's still a little bit behind. So like what we've seen in the UK, because we've been doing TikTok Shop Lives for 3.5 years, not us personally, but the platform, is like consumers get it now for the most part, and they're used to buying on it. They like going on and buying on it.
Some people even wait.
Yeah,
They'll wait for a live.
Yeah, they'll register for it. They'll wait. They'll join. They know that they get like special deals. They know they get that personal treatment, and they love it. So, I think as more and more consumers learn, because things take time, then it's just going to be this kind of huge culture of buying on lives. That's the way it's become in China. It's just commonplace there.
And do you think that if people aren't currently selling on lives, but they are on TikTok Shop, do you think that's an area that they need to look at?
Depends on the brand. Not every brand works on live at the moment. You definitely need to not be afraid of like pushing promotional stuff. So whether it's discounts or like gifts with purchase. Also, like I said, it can be easy to get started but difficult to master, and it's quite like costs a lot to like build a set, costs a lot to train a host. So things
They should talk to you.
like, well, I mean, we obviously like I never even told you this, but the way we're set up is like we're not an agency. We're a partner to brands. Everything we do is commercial partnerships, so percentage on sales. There's some like fixed operating costs, like the set builds we charge a brand for, but everything we do is performance based, and we're really particular about who we work with for that reason. Like I say no to brands way more often than I say yeah.
But it's also a really good, fair model, because it means that your success is linked to their success. And
that's why I did it, because when I told you at the start, it was like when I was doing the agency type stuff and people were paying you like a few grand a month to do this very specific thing, it was like hard to judge
success.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now it's like, can you make his money? Yeah. And if you make his money, we make money. It's that simple. And I love that.
It's a very good model, and it's a similar model to what we operate. Our costs are based on consumption.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fair model, because they do well, you do well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So on the subject of live, if I'm currently not doing lives and I want to get started with lives, have you got any tips or tricks or hints that might be beneficial to the listeners?
Yeah, I'll give you like the broad overview and like beginner's kind of guide to getting started. So there's an area that we call like the hot zone, which is basically like at the top of the phone screen. If you think about it, you've got all of the text that you would see on TikTok. So don't put anything there except maybe some branding. And then down the bottom is like the comments section in the basket. So even though there's an image behind that, like you can still see the footage of the live, no one's going to see anything in that area. So you need to put your products and put your presenter in the hot zone, which you don't know how many lives I see when I'm scrolling, and it's like the products like up the top of the phone are like hidden behind the comments section. Sometimes our team still do it, and I'm like, no, like make sure you get the products in the hot zone. So that's really important in like 101. Second thing, and probably the most important part, because if you've got a good host, like you can literally sell. Like you don't even need to worry about the hot zone in the background or anything. If you've got a host that knows the products really well and is good at building community on the lives, they can sell anything. It's like that what we were talking about earlier. It's like the way people want to buy from each other.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, it's all about people, isn't it? So, have you got any case studies you can talk about, or I'd like to go over?
Yeah, we've had some huge wins on the platform. I think in the conversation earlier, I was saying to you, like, when we actually started getting sales on this channel, it just totally blew my mind to what was even possible. So we worked with the second biggest sports nutrition brand in the UK, and they were like the challenger to My Protein at the time. Basically, My Protein were on there like right at the start, had become really successful on the platform, and there was no one like pushing the boat out. There was no one working with their affiliates. There was no other options really except these like tiny brands. So we brought this brand in, and we just like sent it to hundreds of affiliates, some in our network, some not. And it just created this wave of virality on the platform. This was like, it wasn't our first case study, but it was the first one that really like opened my eyes to what's possible. So we onboard them. Our onboarding takes 4 weeks. By week 8, and so from week 4 to week 8, they'd sold £377,000 just on TikTok alone in sales. And by the end of the first 3 months working with us, they'd done 1.1 million in sales. They'd had over 200 million views on their content across like the affiliate content and their own brand content. They were one of the biggest brands on the platform in less than 4 months as well. And it helped them get like a retail listing in Tesco shortly thereafter. And I see things like this time and time again with brands. It's like when you get TikTok Shop right, not only do you get the sales, not only do you get those millions and millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of views on the content, you just put the brand into this zeitgeist that's like beyond anything that you would have ever got from being number one on Amazon or from like being high up in the rankings and look fantastic.
100%. Just talking very quickly about P. Louise. Like, my daughter's 16.
Yeah.
I work with hundreds of companies. She doesn't know any of them. I recognise any of the brands. She knows who Pages because of TikTok. And that is a really, really good point. And I think something that, it's not just about the sales, the brand awareness is huge.
Yeah. We've got it right now. So I was saying earlier about that big consumer electronics company we work with in the States. So they're going to do their first $1 million month this month. I was actually looking at numbers just before you came here. So we're definitely going to hit $1 million, which is awesome. But they don't care about that as much as the fact that they can get this mass awareness whilst also paying for the channel through like that $1 million sales. So like we know that there's an uptake on one of the products that's viral on Amazon right now. We know there's also an uptake in, or we think there is in Walmart. Like, it's insane, the spillover that you get, because it's just millions of people seeing your products all the time, and it gets in the back of their minds in the same way that all good marketing does. And then they don't always buy on TikTok Shop, they sometimes buy elsewhere, and they've always got you top of mind when you've got that much volume and repetition going through TikTok Shop. So that was the main thing, like when I realized that it wasn't just like this big sales number I was seeing, it was all of this other amazing stuff that's happening. And I sometimes I still can't believe it. Like I think after 2.5 years of doing this I would, but sometimes I'm still totally mind blown by some of the things that we see.
What's the kind of focus for you guys in the next six months to a year?
Really want to grow our UK business and our US business to solidify us as like top TikTok Shop partners. So like I said to you earlier, we're in a really good spot with it, but I just want to keep growing that team and bringing on different points of view and different ideas and different eyes on the platform, and just keep testing things, like keep trying new things with live, keep pushing the ball out. I've got some crazy PR stunt stuff I want to try. One of them would involve scaling Big Ben, but let's see if that actually happens. And then beyond that, we also want to expand internationally, which is a big thing. Like, want to move quickly into new markets and take brands who really want to aggressively grow in those markets. And TikTok Shop's the perfect market entry vehicle because of all the things I just told you, because you get the awareness and you get the sales at the same time.
And are there any particular sectors that you're targeting like actively now?
Yeah, we're probably most well known for beauty and FMCG, but fashion's a big target this year. So we've done a little like bits here and there. We've worked with like Boohoo in the past, but going forward, I'd really like to bring fashion brands on that are quite mature in their journey, but are novices to TikTok Shop, and just show them what's possible. I've got a few on my radar, so let's see how the conversations go. But I'm really excited about fashion as a sector because it does so well on the platform, but so many big like high street brands are not on there yet, and they should be.
Do you think there's any price caps for TikTok Shop? Where if your products are over a certain level, it's just not worth it?
I mean, see that example I just gave you, the consumer electronics one, their LOV is about $170, so that kind of bucks the conception.
Yeah, certainly my own personal conception, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you are. Like, if you buy products that are more expensive, then why wouldn't you buy them on TikTok Shop? But I wouldn't deny the fact that like it is much easier to make like discount bottom of the barrel type brands and products work than it is to make more like premium products. You have to have a really clear idea of your USP and your brand story, and then affiliates need to be able to tell that.
Yeah, I suppose with the more premium brands, even if you're not actually selling on the platform, you're still gaining the brand awareness. You're still getting that benefit, potentially get them to go and buy somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think with Apple Pay though, it's so easy. Apple Pay, Google Pay, it's just like...
What is an impulse purchase these days? Like we're selling a product at the moment that's $100 and it's going like crazy. So people are impulse purchasing that. I would never have said $100 was an impulse purchase a few months ago, but now that I've seen that, I'm like, okay, well, where is the line?
Yeah, 100%. And do you think there's any areas where TikTok Shop needs to improve, or anything that, like, obviously I know you guys have a good relationship with TikTok. Is there anything where you're feeding back to them saying, guys, if you just did this, it'd be even better?
Yeah, I think quite a common problem. It would never put me off because we know the ways to like get around it, but if you're in a busy category, I suppose it's like this with all else, like the algorithm does just favour the brands that are already viral, so you've always got like an uphill battle at first. There's some simple ways of getting around that though, like just be comfortable with like selling your first 1,000 units at a much lower price than you would want to get some volume in the algorithm, and then bring the price back up, that works. Just finding the right affiliates and maybe incentivizing them with higher commission rates than the competitor for a while until you get some volume, then you can bring it down. So I think TikTok could probably do a better job of teaching brands those types of techniques when they come on the platform, because what happens quite often is people start on the platform, try certain things and be like, nah, this doesn't work for me, and then stop it and leave it to die, when in actual fact, like, you've just not used the techniques that you could to get momentum, and then you could have been viral. Like, there's some brands with dormant shops on the platform that should be making like $500,000 a month genuinely. They're barely doing anything. There's one that I kept talking to all last year, and they're doing it themselves now and giving it a decent crack, but they just had the shop sitting there. They didn't realise send products to affiliates, you'll go viral.
Yeah, and how should people find their affiliates? Like,
there's lots of different ways. There's outreach tools like AI that you can use. There's pre-built communities. There's agencies like talent management agencies that will do like specific campaigns for you. We have our own communities built up, as well as like manually outreaching, and then you can just have people going on the platform and outreaching. There's third-party software tools you can use to analyze top performing content and pull affiliates from there. So there's so many different ways. We also host our own creator parties quite regularly as well, where we like bring loads of creators together to matchmake with brands. So
sounds like people just need to speak to you, to be honest.
Well, there's loads of stuff you can do on your own that you don't need us for, but we try and like do the best of all of the elements there are to get affiliates on board.
And what's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to contact you?
LinkedIn, my name's Ben Muir. I'm super active on there, so if you search Ben Muir, then you should find me. You can also search our website and submit a query there. It's weareunsociable.com. And yeah, there's just a form down the bottom. You can take a look at some of our work as well when you're there.
No problem. Well, thanks for your time, Ben. Good to see you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and all the best in the future.
Cheers.